When humanity sent a desperate SOS, they never imagined what would answer. Ancient war machines, buried for centuries, awoke to protect their creators. A hidden power long forgotten rises from the shadows to reclaim the galaxy. The invaders thought humanity was weak, but they had no idea the legacy waiting to strike. Witness colossal machines, unstoppable strategy, and humanity's hidden might unleashed. Don't miss the epic awakening that changes everything for survival, glory, and power. The galaxy will never see humans the same way again. Every pulse, every strike of the ancient guardians proves that humanity cannot be underestimated. Join the journey of courage, strategy, and the ultimate fight for survival. Hit subscribe now and witness humanity's hidden war machines awaken like never before. Humanity had spread across distant planets, trying to build new homes among the stars. Life was hard on these colonies, with harsh climates, limited resources, and the constant threat of unknown dangers lurking in space. People had grown resilient, but a shadow was forming. An enemy that no one had truly understood. The first signs were subtle. Small colonies reporting strange attacks from alien ships that moved faster than anything humans had ever seen. Supplies vanished. Communications failed, and settlers began disappearing without a trace. Panic spread quietly at first, then like wildfire, as the realization hit that these were not isolated incidents, but part of a larger, terrifying plan. In desperation, the leaders of humanity decided to send a signal, a call for help that would travel beyond their known space. The SOS was carefully crafted, carrying not just words but coordinates, records, and a warning. It was a cry from the edge of survival, asking anyone capable to notice, to respond, and to intervene. The message, called the Silent Cry, was sent with the hope that ancient allies, or perhaps civilizations that had once known humanity, might answer. Scientists and engineers worked day and night to ensure it could survive the journey through deep space, shielded from interference and capable of reaching areas long abandoned or forgotten. As the SOS left its origin point, tiny in the vastness of the galaxy, it passed stars, nebulae, and empty space. The humans on the sending planets watched anxiously, knowing they might never hear a response. Yet the act of sending the signal brought a sense of unity and hope, a feeling that humanity, even on the brink, was not completely powerless. Meanwhile, deep in the void, far from human eyes, something ancient began to stir. The silent cry carried through space. Picked up by sensors designed centuries ago but long dormant, machines built by humans in a forgotten age reacted instinctively, awakening from a slumber that had lasted generations. Their memory of their creators and their purpose slowly came alive. Back on the colonies, life continued under the shadow of fear. Children played in small, safe areas, unaware of the creeping danger outside. Adults worked tirelessly, fortifying shelters, training militia, and preparing for attacks that might never be fully understood. Every day was a struggle, but they clung to the hope that the SOS might reach someone, something that could turn the tide. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, tension grew. Yet the silent cry continued its lonely journey, traveling faster than humans imagined possible, carried by technologies that bridged the gap between the present and the ancient past. The message itself became a symbol, a promise that humanity was not forgotten, that their history held power still waiting to awaken. Among the humans, stories began to form. Tales of ancient war machines built to protect the species. Stories that had once seemed like myths now gained new attention. People spoke in whispers about machines that had waited, hidden beneath deserts, oceans, and abandoned planets, waiting for the moment when their creators would need them most. Fear mixed with hope, as humanity waited for a response that could change everything. Some doubted the SOS could reach anyone. Some believed it was already too late, but others felt a strange reassurance, a quiet knowing that their ancestors had not left them entirely alone, that in the darkest hour, there might be something watching, listening, ready to answer the call. The silent cry moved silently through the void, unnoticed by the galaxy's great powers. Unnoticed by empires and fleets that dominated space. It was a small voice in a vast ocean, yet it carried the weight of humanity's survival. Each pulse of the signal carried the lives, the fears, and the hopes of billions, a testament to the determination of a species that refused to be extinguished. As night fell on the colonies, and people slept under the cold stars, no one could know that somewhere, in the far reaches of space, The silent cry was already being heard, and that the events it would trigger would change the galaxy forever. The smallest act of sending a message had set in motion a chain of events that humanity could not yet imagine, but one that held the promise of salvation and power beyond their wildest dreams. Deep in the remote regions of a desolate planet, hidden beneath layers of rock and dust, something stirred. Machines that had slept for centuries began to hum with life. Their enormous frames, covered in dust and rust, started to move with careful precision. As they awoke, sensors long silent flickered on, scanning the environment, detecting movement, energy, and most importantly, the faint signals from the silent cry sent by humanity. The war machines were unlike anything the current human colonies had ever seen. Towering over buildings, armored with alloys stronger than anything modern engineers could create, and armed with weapons that combined technology and energy in ways almost magical to contemporary scientists. Yet they were not mindless. Their AI cores held knowledge and memories of ancient tactics, strategies, and the understanding of threats, allowing them to act with intelligence and purpose. As the first machine fully activated, its systems checked the planetary environment, analyzing terrain, gravity, and atmospheric conditions. It processed the SOS signal, calculating the location of the nearest human colonies and the level of danger they faced. Instinctively, it knew what it had to do. It had been designed as a guardian, a protector of humanity in its most desperate hour. More machines began to awaken in different locations, some buried under deserts, others hidden beneath frozen oceans or deep underground caverns. Each machine, though separated by vast distances, seemed to communicate silently through ancient networks, sharing information, confirming coordinates, and synchronizing movements. It was as if the silent cry had triggered a symphony of war machines, each knowing its role perfectly. On the surface of the planet, dust and debris shifted as machines broke free from their long tombs. The ground trembled under their weight, and the skies filled with clouds of dust as they moved with deliberate, careful motions. Ancient engines powered to life with energy sources that had lasted millennia. Their lights flickered, casting eerie glows on the barren landscape, signaling the rebirth of something long forgotten. Back on human colonies, sensors picked up strange readings from distant planets, small signals that seemed to pulse with intelligence. Scientists and engineers scrambled to understand what they were witnessing, unaware that these were the first signs of humanity's ancient guardians coming alive. Even the most advanced alien civilizations in nearby systems would have found it difficult to comprehend the scale and sophistication of these war machines. The machines began testing their systems, firing energy pulses into empty space, moving limbs and weapons to ensure full functionality. They calculated trajectories, tested targeting systems, and synchronized internal networks. The precision and speed were beyond human comprehension. Each movement, each calculation showed the depth of preparation and intelligence embedded within their cores. Some of the machines paused to analyze historical data stored within their systems, reviewing maps of colonies, locations of critical infrastructure, and known threats. Their memory of humanity's past, combined with the new SOS data, allowed them to plan their next steps with strategic insight. They were not just awakening to act, they were awakening to think, to protect, and to respond effectively. As the war machines fully came online, a sense of purpose filled their systems. They moved as if driven by instinct and duty, heading toward the coordinates of the SOS, crossing vast distances with speed and efficiency. No hesitation, no confusion, only calculated motion. Their arrival would be sudden, powerful, and decisive, a force that could turn the tide for humanity in ways no current technology could achieve. While the humans still feared the unknown threat approaching, they had no idea that salvation was already moving across the galaxy. Ancient war machines, long forgotten, were awakening to answer a call sent across the void. The silent cry had been heard, and the guardians of humanity were stepping out of the shadows, ready to reclaim their role and defend the species that had created them. In the darkness of space and on the desolate planet, the awakening continued, a slow but unstoppable force. Machines of immense size and power began their journey, each step resonating with the legacy of a long-lost age. They were not just machines, they were protectors, strategists, and a symbol of humanity's resilience. Their presence promised that the coming battles would not be fought without humanity's hidden strength. Finally revealed, the galaxy had yet to see the power of these ancient guardians, and no one could predict the impact their awakening would bring. But one thing was certain. The silent cry had awakened something far greater than humans had ever imagined, and the first movements of the ancient war machines would soon echo across the stars, heralding a new era of hope, fear, and unimaginable power. A lone war machine rose from the depths of a hidden cavern, its massive frame emerging slowly as centuries of dust and rock fell away. The sunlight, barely reaching the cavern floor, glinted off its armor, revealing intricate designs and symbols from an age long forgotten. Every movement was deliberate, powered by engines that hummed with energy stored for generations, and every step left the ground trembling beneath its weight. Its sensors activated immediately, scanning the surroundings with precision and intelligence. Every detail of the terrain was mapped in an instant, from the smallest rock to the vast horizon. The machine detected the faint SOS signals sent by humanity, calculating their source, distance, and the threats in the path. Each calculation was made with speed and accuracy far beyond human capability, making it ready for action before any human could even comprehend the situation. The war machine's AI core processed centuries of knowledge in moments, recalling strategies, past battles, and lessons learned by its predecessors. It understood the stakes, the urgency of the SOS, and the danger facing the human colonies. Its primary objective was clear: reach humanity, protect them, and eliminate any threat standing in the way. It moved with a sense of purpose that was both mechanical and almost instinctively human, as if it remembered its creators in ways humans had long forgotten. As it began its journey across the desolate planet, its movement was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Massive limbs shifted with precision, stabilizers adjusting for uneven terrain, while propulsion units carried it over chasms and rocky ridges. Every sound it made echoed across the empty landscape, announcing the arrival of a force that had slept for centuries. The sheer size of the machine made it visible from miles away, a silent guardian marching toward the unknown. The war machine scanned the skies constantly, detecting energy signatures, incoming objects, and potential threats. Its weapon systems, dormant for generations, tested and activated with calculated precision, firing energy beams into the empty air, ensuring that all systems were operational. Every pulse of energy, every rotation of weaponry, demonstrated the deadly efficiency built into its design. Humanity's ancient technology had been crafted not only to survive time, but to dominate the battlefield. As the machine moved closer to the coordinates of the SOS, it began to communicate with others of its kind. Though separated by vast distances, an unseen network connected them. Sharing data, confirming positions, and synchronizing strategies, it was not alone, but part of a hidden fleet waiting for the moment to strike. Each war machine knew its role, its power, and its timing, prepared to act in perfect coordination when the time came. Back on human colonies, sensors picked up strange signals, faint but distinct. Scientists struggled to understand the readings, unaware that the Guardian was already on its way. The first sighting of the machine would be overwhelming. Its size, speed, and presence unlike anything humans had ever imagined. It was more than a weapon. It was a force of nature, a living echo of humanity's lost technological age. The war machine analyzed possible enemy positions, projecting strategies based on past knowledge and current data. Its AI considered countless scenarios in seconds, preparing contingencies for every possible threat. Nothing was left to chance, and its movements reflected the combined wisdom of centuries of warfare. Its approach was not reckless, but precise, guided by experience embedded deep in its core programming. As it crossed mountains, deserts, and ruined cities, small animals and automated systems paused, sensing the immense presence passing through. The world seemed to react to the awakening of something ancient and powerful. The machine's sensors also detected human activity, settlements, fortifications, and people struggling to survive. It adjusted its path to avoid unnecessary destruction while keeping its course toward the SOS origin, prioritizing life and protection. The journey was long, but the machine's determination never wavered. Centuries of waiting had prepared it for this moment. Every calculation, every movement, was aimed at reaching the humans in need, and nothing could stop it. It was the first of the ancient guardians fully awakened, the herald of a force that would soon reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Its arrival was not just imminent, it was inevitable. As the war machine advanced, its presence sent ripples of anticipation through space, unseen but felt by systems and sensors alike. It carried with it the promise of protection, the weight of history, and the certainty that humanity's hidden strength was finally on the move. The galaxy had never witnessed such a force, and soon the ancient war machine would demonstrate why it had waited for centuries, ready to answer the call of the silent cry. Scientists and historians on the surviving human colonies worked tirelessly to piece together the truth about their past. Ancient archives, long forgotten in dusty vaults, revealed stories of a civilization that had once mastered technology far beyond anything the current humans could imagine. Records spoke of massive war machines created to protect humanity in its darkest hour. Machines so powerful that entire fleets of enemies could be defeated by a single unit. At first, many dismissed these records as myths or exaggerations. Tales of towering guardians buried beneath deserts, oceans, and mountains seemed like old legends, meant to inspire hope rather than reflect reality. Yet as the first of the ancient war machines awakened and began moving across the galaxy, doubt turned into astonishment. The historians realized that humanity had left behind a hidden legacy, one that could change the course of the present crisis. The war machines had been designed as fail-safes, a final line of defense in case humanity faced extinction. Centuries ago, when human colonies were still young and vulnerable, the machines had been placed in strategic locations, programmed to remain dormant until a specific signal, the silent cry, reached them. Their creators had trusted that one day, when humanity truly needed protection, the machines would rise, fully prepared and operational. Scientists studied the coordinates and activation patterns of the machines, trying to understand the logic behind their placement. Each location seemed carefully chosen, near vital resources or key colonies, allowing the machines to respond quickly to threats. It became clear that the architects had not only anticipated war, but had also considered strategy, logistics, and the survival of human culture itself. Meanwhile, engineers marveled at the technology embedded in the machines. Every component, from the energy cores to the weapon systems, operated on principles that were centuries ahead of current knowledge. Some machines ran on energy sources that had lasted longer than human lifetimes, while others used advanced AI capable of tactical decision-making far beyond modern computers. The realization filled the scientists with awe and hope, as they understood that humanity's survival was no longer purely in their own hands. As word spread across the colonies, people began to react with a mix of fear and excitement. Children whispered about the legends coming to life. Adults prepared to witness the unimaginable. Entire communities held their breath, knowing that the machines represented both salvation and immense power. The awakening of these ancient guardians had shifted the balance of hope in the galaxy. Giving humanity a chance to survive against overwhelming odds, historians also uncovered records of previous conflicts, battles in which the machines had been deployed. Their victories were recorded in fragmented texts showing incredible strategies, teamwork between multiple units, and the ability to adapt to unexpected challenges. Even after centuries of inactivity, the machines seemed capable of recalling these lessons instantly, proving that memory and experience had been embedded directly into their systems. As the first war machines approached human colonies, scientists scrambled to relay information, maps, and guidance to the remaining defenses. They realized that humans could not fully control the machines, but understanding their capabilities allowed them to coordinate, to prepare for the arrival of the ancient protectors. This collaboration between human intelligence and machine precision created a new sense of unity, a bond across generations that had never existed before. The awakening of the machines also changed the perception of humanity in the galaxy. Nearby alien civilizations, monitoring human colonies, began to notice unusual activity, massive structures moving, energy pulses activating, and unknown technologies coming online. The ancient machines were not just powerful, they were a statement, a message that humanity had forces beyond what anyone had expected, forces that could no longer be ignored. Even as humans studied and planned, the war machines themselves operated independently, moving with purpose and precision. Their actions reflected their design: protect, eliminate threats, and safeguard human life. The records had predicted this moment, and now it was happening. The forgotten legacy of humanity was awakening, bridging centuries of history and linking past ingenuity to present survival. The realization hit every historian, scientist, and citizen alike. Humanity was not alone, and the story of their survival had been written long before they understood the stakes. The ancient war machines were a gift from the past, a tool to secure the future, and a reminder that human ingenuity and foresight could reach across time. These machines would change everything, proving that humanity's greatest strength lay not only in its current technology, but in the secrets and wisdom left by those who came before. As the first human colonies saw glimpses of the approaching machines, awe and hope filled their hearts. They understood that the legends were real, that the guardians of the past had returned, and that humanity's fight for survival had gained an ally of unimaginable power. The galaxy was about to witness the rebirth of a hidden legacy, one that had waited patiently, silently, and with perfect timing for humanity's call to be answered. As hostile alien forces converged on human colonies, the first of the ancient war machines arrived, towering above buildings and fleets alike. Their presence alone sent shivers through the enemy lines. The invaders, confident in their advanced technology and overwhelming numbers, were unprepared for the sudden emergence of these colossal guardians. Each machine moved with terrifying precision, weapon systems activating in synchronized harmony, energy pulses cutting through space with deadly accuracy. The war machines did not attack recklessly, but with calculated strategy. Each movement was designed to maximize impact while minimizing unnecessary destruction. They scanned the battlefield, identified enemy strengths and weaknesses, and deployed their weapons with perfect timing. Missiles, lasers, and energy cannons fired in coordinated sequences, striking multiple targets simultaneously, leaving entire fleets crippled before they could mount a proper defense. From the human perspective, the sight was both awe-inspiring and reassuring. Colonists watched as their ancient protectors engaged the enemy. The machines moved like giants with purpose, their every action precise, intelligent, and devastating. It became immediately clear that humanity had underestimated the true power of its own legacy. The invaders, once arrogant and confident, now faced fear they had never known. The machines also demonstrated advanced defensive capabilities, projecting energy shields that absorbed and reflected enemy fire. No attack, no matter how technologically advanced, could easily penetrate their armor. They adapted instantly to new threats, redirecting energy and calculating new strategies in moments. The alien forces found themselves outmatched in every way, struggling to comprehend how a single machine could neutralize dozens of ships at once. Coordination between multiple war machines created an unstoppable force. Each machine communicated silently with the others, sharing real-time battlefield data, predicting enemy movements, and executing strategies with near-perfect synchronization. Entire squadrons of invaders were funneled into traps, their paths anticipated and blocked. Their fleets shattered not by chaos, but by precise, methodical action. The machines had returned not just as weapons, but as tacticians, engineers of destruction guided by intelligence and purpose. Human military forces, previously overwhelmed, found new hope. Commanders began to coordinate with the machines, learning to understand their patterns and strengths. Defensive positions became more effective and counterattacks more successful. The war machines inspired humans to fight alongside them, boosting morale and giving the colonies a fighting chance against the seemingly unstoppable alien armada. The battlefield was a mixture of awe and terror, as entire fleets were obliterated while machines moved gracefully across planets and through space. Enemy weapons bounced harmlessly off shields, while counterattacks annihilated ships in seconds. The aliens, realizing they were dealing with forces far beyond their expectations, began to retreat, but the machines were relentless, pursuing with tactical precision, ensuring no escape was easy. Even as the machines engaged in combat, their AI continually analyzed new information, adjusting strategies for maximum efficiency. Threats were neutralized before they could fully materialize, and human casualties were minimized wherever possible. They were protectors, but also perfectionists of war, acting not only with raw power, but with an understanding of strategy, timing, and consequence. Every action sent a clear message. Humanity was no longer weak, and the machines would not allow them to be destroyed. As battles raged across multiple planets and in orbiting space, the war machines became legends in real time. Their appearance alone caused fear and confusion among enemies, while humans cheered and coordinated, understanding that these ancient guardians had finally returned. The tide of battle turned dramatically, shifting in humanity's favor. Entire colonies previously on the brink of destruction were saved. For the first time in generations, humans felt a profound sense of security, seeing their hidden legacy in action. The machines did not merely destroy, they demonstrated power, strategy, and loyalty. The invaders learned quickly that humanity could not be easily conquered, that beneath the apparent weakness of scattered colonies lay an unstoppable force waiting for the perfect moment to awaken. By the time the battle ended, alien fleets were decimated. Many ships abandoned or destroyed. Survivors fled in terror, leaving humanity in control of the territory they had almost lost. The war machines stood amidst the ruins, imposing yet calm, scanning for remaining threats, ready to act again if needed. Their arrival had changed everything, turning desperation into triumph, and proving that humanity's forgotten power could alter the course of war. The galaxy, silent witness to the devastation, began to understand that these ancient guardians were not myths, not legends, but reality. The machine's return had not only saved humanity, but also sent a message to every civilization watching. Humanity's strength was hidden, ancient, and now fully awakened. And the war for survival had taken a dramatic and irreversible turn. Human operators on the surviving colonies began to link with the awakened war machines, forming connections that went beyond simple commands. The AI cores of the machines adapted to human input, learning preferences, understanding intentions, and responding with precision that made humans feel as if they were part of the machine itself. This bond created a new form of teamwork, combining human intuition with the unmatched tactical abilities of the ancient guardians. At first, humans were cautious, unsure how much control they could exert, and wary of relying on machines that had slept for centuries. Yet as communication improved, trust grew. The operators realized that the machines were not just weapons, but partners, capable of understanding strategy, anticipating moves, and even suggesting actions based on vast calculations and historical knowledge. The war machines responded to human emotions and stress levels, adjusting their actions to protect operators and civilians. If a human hesitated or panicked, the machine compensated, taking control where needed, guiding movements and focusing firepower to ensure maximum efficiency. This synergy created a unique bond where humans felt empowered, and the machines functioned with an almost human-like understanding of morality and purpose. Together, they began to plan missions. Not just reactive defense, but proactive operations to reclaim lost colonies. Each mission was coordinated in real time, with humans providing context and local knowledge, while machines calculated trajectories, firing solutions, and timing sequences down to the millisecond. The combination of human creativity and machine logic created strategies that no enemy could anticipate. As the bond deepened, the war machines began to act with more personality, responding to individual operators in ways that felt almost alive. They could recognize patterns, remember previous interactions, and adjust tactics accordingly. Operators started naming the machines, treating them as comrades rather than tools, and this connection boosted morale across the colonies, making people believe they were no longer alone in the fight. Training became seamless, with humans learning the capabilities of the machines, and the machines adapting to human styles. Communication became intuitive, with gestures, eye movements, and even emotional cues influencing machine decisions. It was no longer a simple interface, but a partnership, a merging of minds across generations, designed to ensure humanity's survival against overwhelming threats. The combined force allowed humanity to expand beyond defense, launching counterattacks and reclaiming territory lost to the invaders. Human ingenuity provided context and local expertise, while the machines provided speed, precision, and overwhelming firepower. Together, they formed an unstoppable team, blending instinct and logic in a way that neither could achieve alone. During battles, Operators could rely on the machines to anticipate enemy moves, predict strategies, and cover weaknesses in human planning. The machines processed thousands of variables in seconds, translating them into actionable guidance for operators. Humans, in turn, could make judgment calls where flexibility and creativity were needed. The result was a partnership that could react faster, think deeper, and strike harder than any enemy could comprehend. In quieter moments, operators observed the machines performing maintenance on themselves, repairing damages, and optimizing systems autonomously. Yet they always deferred to human decisions in critical moments, reinforcing the sense of mutual respect. The machines were protectors, but they were also allies who understood that humans were still in command. And this understanding created an unprecedented level of trust. As humans and machines continued to operate together, entire colonies began to adapt to this new reality. The presence of intelligent guardians allowed civilians to feel safe, rebuild, and contribute to the defense effort. Everyone understood that survival was no longer purely human or purely mechanical, but a collaboration that drew strength from both. The bond became a symbol of hope and resilience, showing that humanity could not only endure, but also thrive with its hidden legacy fully awakened. Even alien forces noticed the new dynamic, as coordinated attacks between humans and machines overwhelmed enemy fleets and fortresses. The combination of human ingenuity and machine precision created patterns of combat that were unpredictable and devastating. Entire campaigns were won not by sheer force alone, but by the seamless connection between human decision-making and ancient intelligence. As time passed, the partnership strengthened, operators and machines learning from each other with each encounter. Experience accumulated quickly, strategies evolved, and humanity's hidden strength became increasingly visible to the galaxy. This bond proved that survival was not only about power, but about connection, collaboration, and trust. And it ensured that humanity would not face the coming challenges alone. The machines had returned not just as weapons, but as companions, allies, and guardians. Their presence transformed every human operator into a force multiplier, and together they redefined what it meant to fight, survive, and reclaim the galaxy. The awakening had created more than a defensive system. It had created a bond across time, linking humans and their ancient creations in a way that would shape the future forever. With the war machines fully awakened and linked to human operators, humanity began to push back against the alien threat with renewed strength. The colonies that had once been on the verge of destruction were now able to fight back. Coordinated strikes launched from both human fleets and the ancient guardians created a force no enemy could easily counter. Every move was calculated, combining centuries-old strategies with human ingenuity, making the attacks unpredictable and devastating. Entire planets were reclaimed as humans and machines worked together, striking precisely at enemy positions, disabling weapons, and retaking critical infrastructure. Colonists watched in awe as the machines moved with purpose, dismantling enemy fortifications and clearing the path for human reinforcements. For the first time in generations, hope spread like wildfire, giving humans the courage to fight rather than hide. The alien forces, once confident in their superiority, struggled to adapt to the new threat. Machines anticipated their movements, countered their strategies, and destroyed key ships before they could even react. Every engagement reinforced the power of the ancient guardians, showing the galaxy that humanity was far stronger than anyone had assumed. Fear and confusion spread among the invaders, who began to doubt their ability to conquer humanity at all. Human commanders coordinated with the machines to reclaim strategic territories, sending small squads alongside massive war machines to secure planets and resources. The combination of human flexibility and machine precision created a force that was nearly unstoppable. Colonists and soldiers alike learned to trust the machines instinctively, relying on their guidance while providing input based on local knowledge and experience. The victories were not only physical, but also psychological. The reclaiming of planets and defeat of alien fleets sent a clear message to neighboring systems that humanity was no longer weak. Stories of battles won against impossible odds began to circulate, inspiring courage and unity across distant colonies. Even those who had feared the worst began to believe in survival and the possibility of thriving. Meanwhile, the machines continued to adapt. improving strategies with each engagement, learning from both human operators and battlefield outcomes. Their AI evolved in real time, making each successive battle more efficient and devastating. They were not static weapons but dynamic partners, capable of learning and improving as the war progressed. This adaptability gave humanity a decisive edge, turning desperation into opportunity. In space and on the ground, coordinated attacks began to overwhelm the alien invaders. Their fleets were broken, supply lines severed, and bases destroyed with precision. The sheer scale and intelligence of the attacks left them scrambling, unable to predict where humanity's forces would strike next. Every reclaimed colony strengthened the morale of the human population, proving that survival was achievable and that the ancient guardians were not mere legends. Humanity's hidden strength was no longer hidden, and the galaxy began to take notice. Allies who had once ignored human colonies began to reconsider their positions, and potential threats thought twice before striking. The awakening of the war machines and the successful reclamation of planets shifted the balance of power, making humanity a force that could no longer be dismissed. Even as victories mounted, the machines ensured that civilian populations were protected, minimizing casualties and preventing unnecessary destruction. Human operators coordinated evacuations, repairs, and reinforcements, while the machines neutralized threats with precision. The combination of protection and power created a new standard of warfare, where strength was balanced by responsibility and strategy. As the campaign continued, humanity expanded beyond simple defense, launching preemptive operations against remaining alien positions, striking swiftly and decisively to prevent further attacks. The synergy between humans and machines allowed for rapid movements, coordinated assaults, and overwhelming firepower, transforming once defenseless colonies into strongholds capable of holding against any enemy. Stories of reclaimed planets spread quickly, inspiring humans across the galaxy. Colonists who had fled returned to rebuild, soldiers gained confidence, and every victory reinforced the idea that humanity's future was no longer uncertain. The war machines had become symbols of hope and power, tangible proof that humanity's hidden legacy could overcome even the greatest threats. By the time the tide of battle fully turned, humans had reclaimed much of their lost territory, and alien forces were in retreat. Their superiority shattered, the invaders now feared the awakened guardians and the humans who had mastered them. Humanity had proven that survival was not luck, but the result of preparation, intelligence, and the courage to rise from the shadows. The galaxy now understood that humanity was no longer a weak species to be conquered, but a force capable of shaping events, reclaiming what was lost, and forging a future on its own terms. With the war machines leading the charge and humans at their side, the tide of war had shifted decisively, ushering in a new era where humanity's resilience and hidden strength would be recognized and feared by all. The SOS had been answered, and humanity's hidden guardians had fully awakened, towering war machines moving across planets with unmatched precision and power. Entire fleets of alien invaders had been defeated, and colonies once thought lost were reclaimed. Humans watched in awe as the ancient machines continued their relentless march, protecting, strategizing, and striking with intelligence far beyond anything they had ever seen. As the last pockets of resistance were neutralized, humans and machines worked together to rebuild and secure their territories. Cities and infrastructure damaged in battles were repaired with speed and efficiency. Guided by both human knowledge and machine precision, recovery was faster than anyone had imagined, demonstrating that humanity's hidden strength was not just in warfare, but in restoration and resilience. The war machines, though powerful, did not dominate for domination's sake. They moved with purpose, ensuring that human lives were protected, critical resources secured, and threats eliminated efficiently. Their intelligence allowed them to differentiate between danger and safety, preventing unnecessary destruction. The partnership between humans and machines had evolved into a seamless force capable of defending and rebuilding simultaneously. Human leaders realized that the awakening of the war machines had changed everything. Humanity was no longer vulnerable or hidden in the galaxy. The reputation of humans began to spread, not just as survivors, but as a force capable of challenging empires and reshaping the balance of power. Nearby civilizations that had ignored or underestimated humanity now watched with caution, aware that a species once thought weak had risen with unexpected might. Communication between human colonies became more organized, coordinated through networks integrated with the war machines. Intelligence flowed freely. Decisions were executed with precision, and information from one sector could immediately aid another. Humanity had become a unified force, strengthened by its ancient allies, and prepared for challenges that had once seemed impossible. The presence of the war machines also inspired humans to innovate and push technological boundaries. Scientists studied their systems, learning secrets of energy cores, AI architecture, and weaponry. These discoveries fueled new developments, allowing human engineers to build better ships, defenses, and tools. The combination of ancient wisdom and modern ingenuity accelerated humanity's growth and reinforced its position in the galaxy. Even as victories were celebrated, humans understood the importance of vigilance. The galaxy was vast, and threats could emerge from unexpected places. The war machines, fully operational and aware, served as guardians not just in battle but in observation, scanning for dangers, analyzing anomalies, and preparing strategies to prevent future crises. Their presence ensured that humanity could act before disaster struck. In colonies across distant planets, people began to live with renewed confidence. Children played openly, cities thrived, and communities rebuilt. The fear that had once dominated daily life was replaced by a sense of security, hope, and pride. The awakening of the ancient guardians had not only saved humanity, but also transformed its perspective, teaching that survival required courage, strategy, and allies, both ancient and new. The galaxy itself began to notice the shift. Rumors and reports of humanity's power spread to distant empires and civilizations. Stories of colossal machines, human-machine alliances, and decisive victories became legends in real time. The reputation of humanity was no longer one of weakness, but of resilience, intelligence, and unmatched strategic capability. The ancient war machines had become symbols of hope, power, and the enduring legacy of a species that refused to be conquered. As humans and machines continued to operate together, the partnership strengthened further. The AI cores adapted, humans learned, and both sides improved with each encounter. Every victory reinforced the bond, showing that survival depended not only on strength, but on collaboration and trust. The galaxy watched as a new era of human influence began, one where intelligence, strategy, and ancient power combined to create a force that could not be ignored. The final battles of the Awakening period proved decisive, clearing remaining enemy forces, securing key territories, and establishing humanity as a force that demanded respect. The silent cry had been heard, answered by ancient guardians, and humanity had risen from the shadows to claim its place in the galaxy. Its power, intelligence, and unity would shape future conflicts and alliances, ensuring that it would never again be underestimated. In every colony, on every planet, the impact of the war machines was felt. Humans understood that their survival and rise had been made possible by foresight, preparation, and the awakening of a legacy that had waited patiently for centuries. The galaxy had witnessed a transformation, from despair to triumph, from vulnerability to dominance, and from isolation to influence. Humanity had stepped boldly into a new era, forever changed, guided by the guardians of the past and the courage of the present. The legends of the lost war machines spread quickly, inspiring humans and cautioning enemies. Their return had not just saved a species, but had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. Humanity's story was no longer one of survival alone, but of power, strategy, and the promise that its hidden strength would forever be a force to reckon with. The age of the ancient guardians had begun, and humanity's future was limitless.